Hi guys, my name is Bruce. Welcome to another episode of A Little Perspective. As I've said before, a little disclaimer, I am just figuring stuff out for myself, so I'm not an expert in any field. I'm not a doctor, psychologist, or anything like that, so please take everything that I say with a pinch of salt and a handful of glitter and decide for yourself. Today I want to talk about the law of attraction. There was this big movement in the 90s that people like me were very influenced by. So you may have heard of a movie called The Secret. There was a book by a woman named Shakti Gawain called Creative Visualization that changed a whole lot of people's lives. And then there was Esther and her husband, something Hicks, I can't remember, Esther Hicks, and it was the teachings of Abraham. And so basically they revolutionized this whole concept of you being able to manifest your own reality by controlling how you feel. Reading these books really made me feel more empowered and like I could change things and like I could be more than I wanted, and I felt less like I was a victim of circumstance in life, and I could and more like I was able to change and co-create the world around me. But I do have some issues with it. So according to the laws of attraction, as I understand it, is that you can manifest things in your life. You can, so for example, I want a beautiful big rugby husband, a kind, loving, wonderful boyfriend. So then I imagine myself as if I'm already in a relationship with someone like that. I see the person in my mind. I imagine what it's like to be with him. I imagine how he would speak to me, and as if it's real, like that. And then eventually that will come into being. You basically create like a magnetic field with your state of mind, and then that magnetic field draws what it is that you really, really want into your life. In fact, there have been many circumstances in my life where I feel like I've actually achieved that. There was one situation where I kept imagining myself with a handful of cash, and then somewhat synchronously or miraculously a few weeks later, I was in a job at the circus show, and they needed to pay me my salary, and they didn't want to do it via bank transfer, and my first paycheck was literally an envelope full of cash, and I opened the envelope, put the money in my hand, and it felt exactly the way that I had imagined it would feel. So I felt like I had manifested that moment. I don't think it's as simple as that. I don't think it's as simple as I'm now aligned with love and positivity and optimistic, good thoughts, and now only good things are going to come into my life because I'm in a positive, resonant state of mind. Because I think sometimes bad things happen, and bad things happen to good people in good states of mind. I refuse to believe, it doesn't feel right to me that when a child is raped or killed, or animals are being abused, or terrible things happen, or people are starving in certain parts of the world, that it's because they're not resonating with the right kind of positive energy, that they're not manifesting the love and the food and the well-being that they need. It's almost like victim blaming to a certain degree, like, oh shame, she was mugged because she didn't have the right frame of mind, she wasn't attracting positive energy. I think it's very naive and even dangerous to think like that. I know that if I end up walking in certain streets at a certain time of night with my cell phone hanging out, I'm going to get mugged, and it doesn't matter what my state of mind is. There are mixed energies. We are co-creating this experience. It's not as simple as I create the world around me because I create a positive realm around me. Oh, you weren't positive. That's why that horrible, terrible thing happened to you. Oh, you weren't in the right frame of mind. That's why you have cancer now. It's not as simple as that. I think it's far more complex. I think life is a give and take. So there are certain things I definitely believe that I can control with my state of mind. But I also think that it's part of life for things to happen to you that you don't have control over, and that it's not your fault, that bad things will happen sometimes, that there are terrible entities out there, that there are cruel and horrible people, and that there are situations that will be devastating. But what can be done about these situations is that you can always choose how you're going to react to something. We all gain in the long term from the things that we sometimes lose from. It's not immediate. You're not supposed to get everything that you want. Anyone who's raised a child knows that the worst thing that you can do for that child is give them everything you want, everything they want. a very powerful way to develop a child's character in a positive way is to not give them everything they want, is to teach them that they have to work for certain things, and certain things they will never be able to have. The child learns humility, it learns gratitude, and when things do go their way, they're so thankful. You don't have gratitude and thankfulness if you have entitlement, and if you just like expect everything to happen to you. So I think it's a little bit more complicated than that. I don't think people in war-torn countries who are starving to death, who are dying brutally, are not aligned with positivity, are not living with love and resonating with abundance. I do think that a positive outlook on life, a realistic, firmly based in reality, positive outlook on life is deeply beneficial. And that's something I'd like to make clear. So there's the granddaddy of positive psychology is a guy called Martin Seligman. And he did a whole lot of research on the difference between pessimists and optimists. And he found that optimists live longer. They are much healthier. They don't get sick as often. They have much less anxiety. They have a better quality of life. Their relationships are better. Every aspect of their life is better because they are more optimistic. Now, there's a common misconception in society that people who are optimistic are naive, or they have blinkers on. They have rose-tinted spectacles. They don't see life as it really is. But that's actually not true. What Seligman and other researchers found was that optimists actually face their problems head on. Because they're optimistic, they believe that they can deal with anything that life throws at them. So when they see, oh, I've got this problem, this is an issue, this is something that has to be dealt with, they jump on it. They go in there and they get it done because they're optimistic that they'll get it sorted out. So optimists are not naive. Can be an optimistic realist. There is such a thing. Looking for the good in other people, looking for the good in situations. But that doesn't mean that I turn a blind eye to the bad. But what I do know is that being negative and draining and critical about everything is also not a way forward. I do believe that you co-create the world around you, that we should visualize the things that we really want to see, that we should feel the love that we want to see, that we should manifest. But I also don't think that we are that powerful that we can completely prevent anything negative from happening in our lives. Good things happen and bad things happen. But what we can decide is we can decide how we're going to react to what happens and how we're going to feel about what happens. But what I'd really like to know is how, if you are an avid believer in the law of attraction, do you think that we can manifest our reality with our attitude and the way we feel? And is it as powerful and as strong as that a starving baby in a war-torn country, if that child is just taught how to think more positively, will they be able to change their environment around them? Or is it a case of collective unconscious, that is everyone in that area just thinking and feeling in such a negative way that it is manifesting in a negative way that is now impacting that child? I don't know. I'd love to know your thoughts. A little bit deep on a Sunday evening.